I'm Emilia Maj. I'm from Krakow, Poland. As Nino said, we did already a bunch of work downstairs. So I came here just for a short introduction to Google Design Sprint. I assume lots of you are developers and probably never heard about Google Design Sprint. Is anyone aware of the methodology? Great, one person. I'm a formal designer, but nowadays I work as a product strategy. I run design studio together with other awesome designers. And we work for, normally we worked for startups, but nowadays we work for our bigger companies based in Krakow, Poland. But in past time, I did a lot of work for startups around the world. I run many non-profit open source projects here in Europe, in Africa, in different countries. So I had broad experience working around the world. That's why I was invited to Google a network of external experts. So there is GDE and Google experts. So we're a bunch of people around the world that evangelize for Google, especially for design, Google Design Sprint and material design. I've been certified by Google in San Jose 3-4 years ago, and since then I run many sprints for different companies and many different cases. So like shortly, Google Design Sprint is something like, maybe you heard about it, design thinking methodology. So it's like workshop to find solution for a problem within 5 days. So methodology was defined by Jack Kapp. He was Googler past years, but now he works as individual. If you want to know more about the design sprint, I recommend you the book he has written. Since then, he applied many changes to the process. So every time the process is improved and improved. So basically, Google Design Sprint contains 5 stages. So we have a group of people that want to solve some problem, some critical problem. And we actually lock them in the room and ask them to work very furiously on some project. And in the first phase, we make them understand the problem very well. Second, it's like about very wide brainstorm on the topic. In the third phase, they need to decide on which hypothesis they sold on and which gonna prototype present to users. So after prototyping, we ask 5 users to come in the room, or sometimes we do it online, and test the idea. And then we know if the idea is good or wrong. Why we do the sprint, and what is the key features of the sprint? So as I said, like we lock people in the room, and very important things that those people have different skills, different experience. So we don't have a situation like we have nowadays in many projects, like business people think about some solution and later come to tech guys. A tech guy says, no, we cannot do it because it's like it's not doable. Second, it's too expensive, and 3, we have no time for it. Or like designers come up with a great idea on the paper, and later tech people say, no, it's not doable, and business people say, we don't have money for it. So that's why we want those people collaborate on the idea together in the same time. These are, again, the 5 phases we need to go through to get to know stuff. I come back to this again. Before the sprint, we need to define specifically what we'd like to tackle today. And with the group today, we were working on a sexual harassment issue. So we are searching and finding a solution how technology can serve the problem. This sprint ideally is 5 days workshop. So it's like 6 hours daily during 5 days. So it's a hustle. It's really, really hard. It takes lots of energy, lots of nerves, lots of thinking. So believe me, like after those 5 days, you are dead. But we can make it in shorter time. So normally, like regularly, I run it for 3 or 4 days. Yes, I think that's all from the process. Phases, main ideas is like to have not enough time for everything. It's, like I promise you, there's always not enough time for making the idea real. So we really like limit the time, and we really go into the time counting. So people are more encouraged to find a solution quicker. We have that multidisciplinary team, and the whole idea of this workshop is like to be sure that this solution we'd like to implement in real time. So we won't waste our time, energy, and money on something that won't work. Okay, I give you some example of tools we use during the workshops, and these are lightning talks. Probably you heard of it, of the terms, the lightning talks. So the very quick introduction to some subjects. And here, during the design sprint, we have like business talk, user experience or user adoption talk. Then someone should come and talk about technical solutions or technical problems we have in the topic. And we also need to think about our competitors or the product we have right now, and we need to, for example, redesign. There is how might we exercise, and how might we, it's a tool to let us think broadly about the project and ask many questions that we can brainstorm on. It's like really complex tool, but I just want to give you an example, like very quick overview. My favorite one is Crazy 8. Crazy 8 is drawing 8 different solutions in 8 minutes. The funny thing is that everyone who first hear about it, he's like very scared. No, I never draw, this is first. Second, I will never draw 8 solutions in 8 minutes. And of course, in every workshop, everyone did it. So, like, I always amazed how people work better in more stressful environment. This one, this works. Like, you know, this one is not about quality, it's about quantity. So this is just beginning. Then voting, it's good for a broad group, because it didn't create the bias when the room is, I don't know, CEO or boss, and he's like really trying to solve his idea. In Zen voting, we ask people to vote on solutions, but we do it at the same time. So people are not scared to vote on some other solution that their project manager or boss. So it's like equal voting for ideas. Usability testing, if you're familiar with some user testing, normally it takes like hours of interviews, of user testing, and then hours of preparing reports that no one normally reads. And Google Design Sprint make it in 5 days altogether. So we have the same time user interviews, at the same time taking notes and actually having the outcome. So it's really very short, and we have the outcomes in very short time. I would like to share some case studies with you from my work. So what kind of project you can work on? This one is we work with digital Ministry of Digitalization in Poland, and they would like to explain the idea what they do in Poland, like what kind of projects they create for people. So we were working, like it was a very short sprint, 2-day sprint, and we find out the solution for the website and actually explanation of the project they work. So at the same time, and it was very interesting because at the same time, people from the ministry, they have their own workshop about the content, and we have the workshop about the visual part of it. So we can work together at the same time. This is another case, Sonar. It was project led by Google and the biggest magazine, newspaper in Poland, Gazeta Wyborcza. And they wanted to make a website where we can present our politicians, all the people involved in politics, and share their experience, their career on the pages. And we logged like different people from the newspapers and from the like technical guys and designers and content manager together in the room and asked them to work. And there were five days. That was really harsh. We logged ourselves as let's say like village houses in the middle of Warsaw. So we met every day over there and worked from mid-morning till late evening. It looks like that. Actually, the workshop use lots of papers. You have many colorful post-it notes, lots of papers and ideas around, and then you need to decide what you're gonna to prototype and to test. So this is actually the flow, the screens that we created during the event. They were like actually the whole application, like 10 or even more screens that we literally test with user at the end of the day. And half a year later, we got this mobile application on website live. So it's live now, and it works very well, as I know. I want to just also take in advance that Google Design Sprint is not necessarily used only for designing application or website. It's a methodology that you can help with doing hardware or marketing tool or sale tool. In this sprint, we were thinking about sales script that salesperson do with the clients. So actually, literally, we wrote the conversation that the salesperson will have with users in the end of the sprint. And we did it. We asked our potential clients and lead the conversation that way. And actually that was the outcome, the tangible outcome of the sprint. So some people ask me where, when, and which time is good to use Google Design Sprint, because some of them are really concerned there's not enough time in the companies to just have like 5 days off and to work on it. And of course, that methodology is not perfect for everyone, for every kind of team or project or like people. Sometimes just people don't like it, don't like working that way. But I would say this methodology is great for remote teams where they have a chance to meet once a while. So this is like great agenda that you can work with together on some particular problem. The methodology I would suggest to use when you have problem or issues in communications. Like some of the companies come to me and say, you know, like we are working on that project since 6 months. We introduced this many projects or emails, but we didn't decide on anything. So I think like this methodology is great to like push people to finally do something. Sometimes companies have money, have people, but they don't know what they actually want to do. They want to come up with product. They have sources, but they don't know what is the best idea to tackle us first. So I think like if you don't know like what kind of product, but you know what kind of problem you'd like to solve, then Google Design Sprint is something for you. And of course, if you are in hurry, you'd like to validate the idea quickly, it's also a good point here, because I think this kind of work environment lets you decide on the problem like very quickly. So after 5 days, you know if you want to go in the direction or not. Also, I got questions why it's better than, for example, Google Design Thinking. And I guess Google Design Sprint has some specific tools that I already introduced to you. And this is something like unique for the process. And they're very open, like making people more open, like eyes opening, more, they give them more inspirations. Like they give them the different ideas. So I really suggest you even not working with the whole process, but some of them. Like, I don't know, tell them to sketch very quickly ideas and explain to others. I think the voting process and validating process is also very interesting. Like you don't make that long reports that contains all the questions, all the answers, but you have the feedback very quickly. Yes, and the last thing, it's like very important here, that this methodology let people work individually. Jacob, the one who described the process, actually he defined very big problem in the groups, that even we do brainstorms in companies, normally the strong individuals has the more to say. So the shy persons are not, like they cannot say the word, they cannot go with their ideas. And here is the process looks like we work individually first, and then we go to groups and work together. So everyone has the time and space to present their thoughts.